All right, so the UEFA Champions League is set for the round of 16 stage. We have the 16 teams that have qualified. We had the first 8 that qualified automatically, and then also in the playoff round, we've seen the 8 other teams. But we've seen some shocking results, and one would ask the question, what is happening to Italian football now? 4 teams from Italy actually made it into the UEFA Champions League at the group stage round, where you had the likes of Inter Milan, you have Juventus, you have Napoli. They were the winners of the Scudetto last season, and then also Atalanta. And guess what? After the group stages and then the playoff round, there's just one remaining. That is Atalanta. They beat Borussia Dortmund by 4-1. So you question what is actually happening to Italian football. Is it that there's been, it's been on a decline? Yeah, obviously, after Calciopoli, with all those match fixing scandals. But then the performance of the clubs is quite alarming, especially for Inter Milan. Inter Milan lost to a team like Bodo Glimt. Can you imagine Inter Milan losing to a club like Bodo Glimt? And you compare these two teams. Bodo Glimt wasn't actually a force in Norwegian football until just recently, where, in 2020, they won their first ever elite Syrian title. And since then, they've won it 4 times. Even last season, in the Norwegian top flight, they were even second behind Viking. So you look at the status and the pedigree of such a team, with Inter Milan, 2-time winners of the UEFA Champions League. The last time they won it was in 2010. The last time they made it to the final was just last season, where they lost 5-0 to PSG. For me, it's quite, as the most shocking result I've seen in the UEFA Champions League. Yeah, recently we saw Sheriff Tiraspol of Moldova beating Real Madrid. We've seen 1 or 2 shocking results. But then for Inter Milan to lose over 2 legs, not even drawing any of the legs. They lost 3-1 in the first leg, then 2-1 in the second leg. So 5-2 on aggregate, they lost to Inter Milan. For me, I think it's the most shocking result I've seen in the UEFA Champions League. Now we look at another Italian team, Juventus. Juventus lost 5-2 in Istanbul a couple of days ago. Now in the return fixture at the Allianz Stadium, we're all thinking, yeah, this Juventus, they've also won the UEFA Champions League twice. They have Luciano Spalletti, they have experienced players like Weston McKennie, there's Vlahovic, Conceição. You can mention the players. So in that game, we all thought it was going to be cagey. Yeah, Juventus scored in the first half. Now, right after recess, just some few minutes, there was a red card to Lloyd Kelly, and you're thinking, how can you have a man sent off in 2 legs in the UEFA Champions League when you know it's all to play for? You mean business. You know that it's a crucial game. But then, despite the red card or the numerical disadvantage, they still scored twice with 10 men and forced extra time. But unfortunately, Juventus were not that strong for Galatasaray. Victor Osimhen and also Yilmaz scoring for Galatasaray to help power the Turkish club into the last 16 of the UEFA Champions League. For me, my take remains that Italian football is declining. It's on steep, decline, which I think the Italian FA needs to do something about it. You can have Juventus and Inter Milan combined. They've won 4 UEFA Champions League titles. They've been to countless finals, losing to Galatasaray and then also Bodo Glimt. But not just that, in that game involving Real Madrid and Benfica, it was a good game. Jose Mourinho was shown a red card in the first leg, so he wasn't eligible to be on the touchline. His assistant was there, but in Real Madrid also showed their prowess. They are 15-time champions of the competition. Yeah, it was Vini Jr. stealing the headlines again, because after he scored the only goal in the first leg, he managed to score again in the second leg. He did that same dance, and people are asking, why is he still doing something that infuriated the fans of Benfica, which even led to, a Benfica player, that's Prestiani, even, confronting him. That led to quite a lot of, fracas. But then it's Vini Jr. He's a Brazilian. You can't take anything away from him. So he has grabbed the headlines. But then it's Real Madrid's turn now. We've seen Real Madrid so shambolic in the group stages. But then whenever they make it into the knockout stage, they are just deadly and ruthless. Last season, they needed the playoff at the expense of City. They managed to qualify, but then it took Arsenal to knock them out in the quarterfinal stage. Now, they've managed to sail through at the expense of Benfica, which was a very, very good game. Not just that, Atletico Madrid were also in action. It was a good win for them. 7-4 on aggregate. We've seen them before, the Giant Slayers. They also through to the next round. Then also there's Atalanta, the only Italian side that actually made Italian football and Italians proud after they managed to overturn that 2-0 scoreline in the first leg at the Signal Iduna, and they managed to beat Borussia Dortmund 4-1 at the New Balance Arena in Bergamo. Quite an emphatic performance by the Serie A outfit, and I think they are still carrying the flag of Italy high. So you talk about Italian football and their reps in the UEFA Champions League. I think isn't bad for them. But for England, Newcastle also managed to beat Karabakh 3-2 at the St James's Park. 9-3 on aggregate, 9-3 on aggregate, and as we speak, they joined the 5 other teams in the round of 16, which means that England has got 6 teams in the last 16 of the UEFA Champions League. There's Liverpool, there's Chelsea, there's Arsenal, there's Manchester City, there's Newcastle United, as well as Tottenham Hotspur. So it was an entertaining round in the second leg of the playoff round of the UEFA Champions League. 8 teams are through now, and all the 16 is set, and that's what you can see currently. 16 teams. Which team do you think will make it, very, very far? The pairings will be done definitely on Friday, and we'll get to know which teams will be playing against the other. But then PSG, defending champions, also through to the round 60 after beating Ligue 1 side Monaco 5-4 on aggregate. It was a very, very cagey game with so many talking points. But then it's PSG. They also needed the knockout stage or the playoff round last season. They did this season as well, and they are through. So let's hear from you in the comment section which teams you've been pleased with, especially with performance. Is Newcastle the team of the playoff round after trashing Karabakh 9-3 on aggregate to qualify? You go for Bodo Glimt. They slayed giant Inter Milan at the Giuseppe Meazza. They beat them 5-2 on aggregate to also advance.